So the question is, can Bitcoin transactions be reversed? Well, the very simple answer to that is no. In a very practical sense, no. In fact, I would say, you see, it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible. It would literally cost billions of dollars to reverse a Bitcoin transaction. It's once it's been sent out to the network, it's that's it. Just forget about it. I mean, when you send a transaction to the network, what happens is it sits there waiting to be picked up, and it doesn't disappear, right? Someone will eventually pick it up. And in fact, I don't even know how you could erase it from where it is. It sits in something called the mempool. I don't even know how you could erase that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that you could. But what will happen is, after about 10 minutes, it will start to get confirmed. Someone will basically pick it up. A miner will pick it up, and it will appear in the next block. Now, at that point, it becomes infinitely more impossible to remove. So you would have to have incredible resources. You would need to do what's called a 51% attack. So you need to have control of more than 50%, not of the number of miners, but of let's call it the collective mining power. So if you average out large miners and small miners, you would need to have roughly more than half, 51% at least, of the mining power of the entire network. Or if you don't have that under your control, you'd need to be able to bribe them or collude them or something like that. It's just impossible. It would it would take the kind of coordination required would be just ridiculous. I said it would cost billions, but it probably wouldn't cost that much. But it would definitely cost, I think, tens of millions of dollars, at the very least, to somehow do that. And and that's just in electricity costs. So yeah, it's never happened. And by the way, that's only just after one confirmation. That the more confirmations that there are, it becomes even more difficult. So it's never happened so far. Could we one day see it with quantum computing or something like that? I mean, I suppose then theoretically it's possible that a transaction could be reversed via a hack. I haven't talked about a hack so far, but when we have quantum computing, theoretically that might be possible. But look, it's generally regarded that way before quantum computing actually happens, that all cryptos, including Bitcoin, will have updated themselves. The developers would have worked on that, increased the security, just changed the algorithms that are used. It's pretty trivial to do that. It's not perceived to be something that's going to be difficult. There's no rush to do it. It's a bit like updating the certificates that are used when you go to a website, right? Like today, they probably use 256-bit encryption or something. I mean, you could double that if you wanted to, but there's just simply no need to do it. So that's why we don't do it yet. And there is some cost involved as well. But there's time more than anything, I think. But there's just no need to do it yet. There's no point in rushing ahead. We're already way more secure than we even need to be at the moment. And the same applies with Bitcoin, or whether you're using a website and it's using SSL encryption or whatever. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. There's no need to upgrade the network yet, and it should happen in good time. But in theory, if that didn't happen, then in theory it would be possible for transactions to be reversed. And this is the thing about Bitcoin, right? Compare it to the modern financial system, which uses very archaic systems of messaging and validation that, although they're more automated than ever, they still involve human beings at some point, and there are still errors, and there are still people on the inside who are people, they go through vetting and they're supposed to be trusted, but then they commit fraud, or they're social engineered, right? That also happens. Bank employees are victims of social engineering, or even just simple bank account holders are victims of social engineering, right? So now look, that can happen also with crypto, to be honest, but forget social engineering for a minute. The underlying technology in crypto is way better than its traditional financial system. So, and Bitcoin is regarded as the strongest of all of the cryptos. It's had the opportunity to become better in other respects, to have lower fees, to be more quicker to confirm, better for microtransactions. But in the end, for example, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash split. Bitcoin Cash wanted to become the coin of microtransactions used for smaller amounts but less secure and faster, whereas the other half of the community said, no way, Bitcoin, the best thing about it is that it's secure, super secure. We're going to stay on this route. We're not going to relax our security. So can Bitcoin transactions be reversed? No. Really? Practically? Absolutely they cannot, and it's just not even worth thinking about the possibility that they could be reversed. It's basically impossible. That's my answer to you. So yeah, let me know what you think. Maybe you disagree, maybe you think it actually can be. Well, go ahead and tell me, and I'll be curious to see what your argument is, because frankly I just don't think it's possible. In fact, I would lay down a challenge to you. If you believe the Bitcoin transaction can be reversed, and how about this? How about you do a transaction, make it something small, $10, and you try and reverse that transaction, or try and reverse any transaction that's already happened. I don't care. You make up the rules. I really don't care. Make it as easy as possible for yourself, and then try and reverse a transaction. And in fact, I mean, I'm not in a position to reward you, but there are plenty of people out on the internet who would offer you this challenge. Reverse a transaction, and then they would give you something like the equivalent of a lottery winning, right? If you're successful to do that. Call it a bounty. If you're able to prove that you can reverse a transaction, then they'll pay you more than any lottery has ever paid anyone. And I bet that you won't be able to do it, or they'll bet that you won't be able to pull it off. And I would agree with them. It's nigh on impossible to reverse a transaction, and it hasn't happened yet, and it ain't gonna happen. So there you go. That's what I would say to you if you're not convinced yet. But let me know what you think, and if you like this talk, then please give a thumbs up, and I will speak again soon. Take care. Bye bye.